What's up, everybody? Good morning. We have made it to yet another Monday, first Monday post-draft, and we have made it to the point in the off season where things just really slow down. For the most part. There are going to be some things that happen over the next couple of months, but for the most part, once you get to the end of April, you are hunkering down for football's winter. We have our winter in spring slash early summer, effectively. So things are definitely going to slow down with NFL news, with Seahawks news, and therefore this channel is going to be posting less frequently. The next couple of weeks, I am going to be throwing myself pretty hard into the draft picks that the Seahawks made, doing some really thorough evaluations of them, watching more tape, looking at stuff, showing my notes in videos, and really just trying to dive into these players from every possible angle, which is something that I did last year. And that was a process that took a couple weeks to play out. So I will be doing that, and that's obviously going to be interesting to a lot of people. But once we get on the other side of that, it's mostly just waiting. Now, there is one interesting thing that is going to happen later today that I wanted to talk about. Admittedly, I don't know how relevant this is going to be for the Seattle Seahawks because the Seattle Seahawks are not one of the teams that is well equipped to take advantage of this, but this is worth talking about. I got this tweet on screen from Ari Mirnov, and I saw it from a few other places as well. Starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, so 1 p.m. Pacific, so as of the upload of this video, 4 hours from now being the time this video goes live, free agents can sign with new teams, and it will not affect compensatory draft picks. Remember how during early free agency I was making a big deal about gaining and losing compensatory picks by having players sign with other teams versus us signing players from other teams, and how certain players qualified, certain players didn't. It depended on the size of the contract, etc., etc., etc. If you guys remember that, yeah. Um, that will go out the door starting at 1 p.m. today, so 4 hours from now, which that's great news for some teams out there, not necessarily great news for the Seahawks. And I say that because there might be, I think there's literally one team out there that is working with more cap space, that, or excuse me, less cap space than the Seahawks right now. So we don't really have money to take advantage of this. However, there are things that we can do to create cap space, and I want to stress this. If the Seahawks were planning on playing a little bit of add-on, maybe they add another offensive lineman, maybe they want to add a linebacker, maybe they want to add a safety. There are guys still out there. Just off the top of my head, Dalton Risner is still a free agent. Both of our former safeties are free agents as well, by the way. Not that that really applies to us, but I think Justin Simmons might still be a free agent. I don't think he ever signed anywhere. There are going to be some inside linebackers available. It's definitely not the cream of the crop or anything, but there are some guys out there that you could look at that could make this roster a little bit better if your approach was to not disturb your better compensatory picks. So the Seahawks are going to have to do something to create cap space anyway. Maybe they'll create enough to go out and get somebody else. I look at this roster and I'm not too unhappy with any of it really, but you could add another inside linebacker because I don't think Radigan's going to be sticking around, and you are very thin at that position. You've got so little going on there that is likely to be of value when the season starts that it wouldn't shock me if the team decides to, excuse me, um, spend a little bit of money to get somebody who's at least a little more reliable, just a little bit of a veteran presence. So that being said, they've got work to do. I'm going to go to Spotrac now. And by the way, it's probably just that I'm used to the old Spotrac, but I really hate the layout of the new Spotrac page. Is anybody else with me? Does anyone else agree? I really don't like what Spotrac has done to their website. But anyway, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page here, you can see why this is unlikely to affect the Seahawks. As of right now, counting every single player on the team, which is obviously not a meaningful way of doing this. That's 73 people listed, and a lot of those guys don't even have their salaries punched in yet. The Seahawks are about 10 million over the salary cap. Over. Now, if you only look at the top 51, we're sitting at about 2.3 million in cap space, but that is not counting any of these rookies, right? Because these rookies are all sitting on unknown, well, not necessarily unknown, but unsigned contracts. So those guys aren't even counted in that. So when you put it all together, you remember the fact that we're going to have to sign the rookies, and then we're going to need a little bit of money. Like, I think it's 3 million for the practice squad, and then you're going to need potentially some money for buffer for the season. You can see that this team is going to seriously need to trim down just to have the guys that they currently have. In fact, there are going to be some guys they currently have that they probably won't have when the season starts. I've talked about this before, but again, I think that the big candidates for being let go to make sure we have required cap space would be guys like Darrell Taylor. You could save a little more than $3 million by letting him go. Michael Jackson, you could save all of his $3.1 million by letting him go. John Radigan on the $3 million tender. None of it's guaranteed at all. If you get rid of those three guys, that would be $9 million shaved off here. And $9 million would probably pay for all the rookies and give you enough to do the practice squad. Now, you'd have no buffer, which maybe the team is okay with that this year, maybe they're not. But after you do that, there's really not much you can do that isn't restructuring, right? Like, restructure Gino, restructure Metcalf, restructure Draymond, restructure, or, well, not restructure, but extend Julian Love, right? It gets uncomfortable pretty quickly here, but there are things they can do. There are always things you can do. I'm just pointing out here that even if the team decides to cut out their tendered players, or basically tendered players, I know Taylor technically is not, but Taylor, Jackson, Radigan, if they get rid of those three guys and save a little more than 9 million, they're still like, they're right up against it. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, just letting everybody know that things have changed as of 4 hours from right now. 1 p.m., no more compensatory pick stuff. The compensatory pick stuff will be in ice. It will be set in stone. As of right now, I think the Seahawks have a 4th rounder and a 5th rounder compensatory, and that won't be changing. And that's pretty appealing. That's pretty valuable. Like, it's not amazing, but there is definitely value in having extra 4th and 5th round picks. So, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you guys might approach this. Is there anything else going on here that this team can do to free up a little bit of cap space? Like, some people are going to say somebody like a Stone Forsythe, you could let him go. That only saves like $1 million. That's only going to do a little bit of damage for you. There are some guys that you could maybe trade, but again, a lot of the guys that you could consider trading would only save you a little bit of money. So something's going to have to be done here just for us to keep what we think that we have. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. Hopefully they find a relatively blood-free way to do it.